everyone, and welcome to another episode of the DomJake podcast. Thank you all for stopping by. If this is your first time listening, I am your host, Dominic.
And I'm your host, Jake.
Well, I'm going to start off the episode by, let's just say, stating the obvious here.
What would that be?
Well, since we were all, I guess, in diapers, we've all seen different types of cars, different shapes and sizes, whether they're like race cars or just regular cars you see on the street.
Or Hot Wheels, or in video games, right? Mario Kart, right? Yeah, no.
Or, don't forget Matchbox.
Don't forget Pinewood Derby.
Yep. Or don't forget Grand Theft Autos, fake cars.
Let's go on already. What is this about?
Well, let's just say, we've all, like I said, we've seen different cars in the past, up to today, but what would our ideal car be like? Forgetting about the major car manufacturers, what would our ideal car look like? Whether it's a sports car, or smart cars, or just even your family van.
I want to brush up on that one thing that you just said. If we're forgetting about the major, I guess, the popular brands out there, well, what's going to happen if somebody's dream car happens to be one of those, well-known ones? We just say, oh, you can't do that one, or...
Well, whoever had the idea of the Cybertruck, well, their dreams are crushed. They could just make a new car. But, anyways, for this, I will, on the spot, think of what would my ideal car be.
And I suppose I will be doing the same thing alongside you.
Alright. Well, for starters, I don't really want a big giant truck either, but I also don't want a Fiat.
Sizes. I guess that's a good place to start. I'm kind of with you there. I don't want, super monster, but I also, obviously I don't really want, a one-seater, No,
of course not, but I do want my car to have 4 doors on there because, well, what if you're hanging out with your friends or your family stuff? Then you don't want, just the 2-seater car either.
That's interesting. You actually can see yourself, actually wanting to hang out with people in your vehicle, because I know some people are like, this is only my zone. Nobody else is coming in this area.
Well, I do have
my zone.
Well, you do have that option too, of just wanting to be in the car by yourself, just jamming to tunes, right? And of course, I do want my car to be gas powered.
Okay.
I don't feel the need for it to be electric.
So I will say, I wasn't exactly definitive with my sizing, actually, so I do kind of want to brush back to that one a little bit. But when it comes to sizes, I did say I don't want the extremes, but I would say I would kind of lean towards a little bit on the bigger side. Mainly because I could foresee myself, needing to haul some items of sorts, various different types. And it's kind of hard to do that if you can't fit things in, right? That's obvious. Yeah. I was kind of toying around with the idea of having a flat bed, like a truck, right?
Yeah.
So just something where it's I could put something in the back to kind of haul things away if I wanted to. But, technically, a van could also do that too. Plus, vans they kind of look like they belong in residential areas a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I mean, vans, they're kind of the thing. I mean, let's be honest, obviously they're the same type of motor vehicle as cars, but you don't see just one person just owning a van. Usually you see it owned by families.
Hmm.
But, so back to my car, I do want it to... Okay, for the paint, I'm sure this is going to be obvious to you, but not obvious to anybody listening. I do want it red.
Mm. So, I'm gonna actually maybe say, how about you circle back to the whether you want it gassed or electric, because of the fact that you keep on kind of forcing me to go back to the other thing, because I didn't answer that.
Okay, okay.
So kind of start over with the gas stuff.
So back to the whole gas-powered car versus electric. I think I would like my car to go longer distances, right?
How do you mean?
Most electric cars do not do that. And also, because it's a gas-powered car, I am gonna, not charge, because that's an electric car. I'm gonna pump up the gas within just a few minutes, and right when it's done, I could just go right back on the road.
See, I kind of have the other sort of mindset. I would much rather have an electric, but at the same time, you said we're designing our own car, and you know what?
And you know what?
I'm gonna design it with a third option that you didn't even say. I'm gonna design it with water powered, because that has been invented. It's just the big companies have pretty much bought it out. They bought the patents and stuff to it, but they're not gonna make it because they're the big companies. They're gonna make, the money with all the gas stuff, because that pretty much runs out.
Yeah.
So mine's watered.
There you go. There you go. So, if, there you go. So that way our car doesn't explode. It'll just be like a water balloon. But I do want my car, I want it red, right? So
colors. Okay.
Yep, but
personally, I don't give a car. I don't give a truck about what color it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, preferably, I'd kind of have like a car paint where it's like, have you heard of the technology where it's like they put like nanobots like in the paint that kind of connects to like your device or whatever, and you could kind of choose, today I want it to be red, tomorrow I want it to be white, and tomorrow I want it to be pink with blue stripes, right?
I have not heard of that before.
It was kind of like a revolutionary thing back 15 years ago or whatever, which I think they're only improving with the technology, but I digress. I want that because it's possible, but it's one of those rich things. I should probably ask you, in this universe of we're making our car, are we getting our car made for us for free?
Well, since it is our car, we are gonna have it for free.
We're gonna get it pretty much. So in this episode, we're pretty much designing it, and I don't know, a week from now it arrives in our driveway. Perfect for us, right? There we go.
But also, it's like, for our cars, at least for my car, ideally I want it to be, at least if I wanted to get it serviced, or if I wanted to do it myself, I want the parts to be replaceable instead of having to go to a dealership and having them do it. Because I want this to be like, I want mom and pop shops to repair any necessary replacements and stuff, and just not necessarily where you get your car from.
At the same time, though, well, okay, well, we already said that the main dealerships are probably not in this equation because, you pretty much said that they weren't. This is just us designing something, so it's no such thing as Ford, there's no such thing as Hyundai, there's no such thing as Volkswagen. But in this universe, it's just make and design the ones that we want, right? So, in this world, there is no dealership for you to go, that's the only place I could go and get it. You set that rule up yourself already. There is no specialized place.
I know. Exactly. That's why we're not. That's why we're going to be doing, having the cars, I guess, have more mechanical components to it, for lack of a better word.
But what I'm saying is, you can't. You pretty much gave no option to go to a bigger. Because you're like, all of them are gone in this scenario.
But there we go. Then, or just send it back to ourselves and have us repair it.
I'm genuinely serious when I say this one though. Like, when it comes to parts and stuff like that, I think that theoretically, motors do get hotter because they do deal with energy and stuff like that. I get that, but with a water-powered car, almost thinking of having like a little bit of a, for lack of better terms, like freezer or like a refrigerator, something to cool things off, right? So then I could use I'm gonna say the word gas even though it's water, right? I could use that gas water and kind of cycle it into something where it kind of cools off the components. So if anything, all I need are the insides to be waterproof and I guess not necessarily plastic that will just get away, but in reality, a plastic sort of thing, it's a little bit easier to maintain than a metallic thing. How often are you going to have to repaint that? And how often are you going to have to tune this in if you go to like a, doesn't matter, mom and pop or whatever, replace it yourself? You're going to have to replace a lot more if it's moving parts that are metallic. At least that's my work theory. I could definitely be wrong with that. Maybe the plastic is not the way to go with that. But, yeah.
Talking about the insides of the car, I have some ideas already in mind, which is, talk about the seats. I want them just to be leather. Like, right when you get in the car, it's going to be that new car smell like you would get, but...
So you're not referring to the inner mechanics, you're now talking about the pleasure zone, if you want to call it that.
Sure, but we'll talk more about the engines later on.
Fair.
So, yep, the seats are going to be leather. I'm going to have, the stereo stuff right in the center, like most cars do, but I do not want a screen on this car. Mainly, partly because, it's funny how over 30 years ago there was a manufacturer that made a car with a screen on it that you could touch, but because back then I guess people were more concerned about driving and they were like, oh, let's remove the screen. But now it's like people aren't complaining about it now. That's why you see cars like when you see cars now with Apple CarPlay. I'm not doing that.
Oh, I've never personally seen that. Going back, because I actually didn't say really my insides, I guess. Well, I said my, gears and stuff like that, but I would kind of say that it doesn't really matter how the interior kind of is. I would kind of probably rather have it be like a darker color, if anything, just due to like it absorbing the light a little bit better. So it's not a little bit terrible to, look inside. But if anything, I'm probably going to use like seat covers. I mean, honestly, like the thing that you saw in the van, right?
Yeah.
Like that. It functions the same way, right? But
Well, speaking of that, it's like for my leather seats, I will have them a lighter color so it doesn't get hot as quick.
yeah.
But yes, seat covers, they do help a lot more.
Right on.
And as for the stereo system, it will be sort of something that you would expect from a car from the 2000s. Like,
Right
it's
on.
going to have the FM radio, the auxiliary cord if you want to hook your smartphone up, a CD and a cassette player.
Oh, you straight up want the cassette too, huh?
And there's definitely no room for a vinyl record player in the car. Let's be honest.
It's like, no, I also want a phonograph in there too with the big bell.
Right.
Nah, I mean, for me, if anything, like, I'm not too big with the listening to audio when I'm driving sort of deal. The only audio that I would ever consider is GPS. I mean, if I'm a passenger, why not? Sure. If it doesn't impact, the concentration of the driver, but if I'm alone, it's silent. It's maybe me talking out loud. That's at most what's gonna happen.
Fair enough. But yeah, there's definitely the option to turn the stereo off like most cars do. I will have the gear shift right in the center, not on the steering wheel like some models do.
Yeah, the steering wheel one is not. I don't get that. I personally don't even get it.
Yep, we've had vans that have done that before.
Oh, manual or automatic?
Guess what? You get both.
You're getting both?
Because, hey, what if I'm using this, what if I have a cousin, well, this is assuming I am driving, but what if I have a younger cousin, I'm going to be teaching them how to drive, or what if I work at one of the driving schools, and this car is definitely student driver friendly, so we do want to teach them how to do, like, the transmissions.
Well, I don't know about that, because the DMV has to get involved when it comes to being able to have student drivers test something with it. There's a lot of like steps to go through, so let's not guarantee that that's DMV-able. But I mean, in theory though, without the if you're not going through like a DMV sort of thing, in theory you can practice on something like that, right? You can practice, just not take a test or whatever on it, unless if you really got it approved ahead of time.
Well, I know sometimes, like, with these cars with the backup camera, they want you to cover up the camera.
Oh, I would see that's not the way that I did it anyway. I was allowed to, and actually encouraged to, use the backup camera. It's just the backup camera does have some blind spots too. But you, as a physical body, have blind spots that the backup camera helps with. So you kind of have to use both. At least the way that I did it. I don't want to speak for every driving test out there. I mean, you could certainly revisit the previous episode if you want to hear more of how I did it, but in reality, it's like, gotta go through a lot of paperwork for that. But in concept, practice, sure, do that. I would kind of say I kind of want manual and automatic too. You gave me that idea, so yeah, I'll do it. But it would probably be mostly automatic because I don't like the emergency brake all the time.
I mean, the anti-lock braking system that got introduced 30 years ago. I will be utilizing that in my car.
Mm.
So
that, as long as I know how to use it, I'll be fine with that too.
Mm-hmm. And all right, is that all our ideas for the interior of the car?
I mean, interior. Are you gonna have any special little decorations on the dashboard?
I might do probably like stickers on there.
Gonna have stickers on your dashboard?
Or maybe not, but maybe some figurines on there, just chilling on the dashboard.
Any fuzzy dice?
Probably not that. I will not be doing that.
Or do you think you're gonna get your what is it, axle rods extended or something so that you could bounce up and down?
No. Nope. Although of course, it's gonna make people whip out their phone cameras and record that car just on the highway.
Lovely.
Yep. Okay, so now that we've talked about the interior of the car, now let's talk about what you were mentioning. All the mechanical components of the car.
Right on.
So we do know that, for the steering system, most cars now are, I guess it's electronically controlled when you do the steering wheel.
How so? Explain.
When you steer let's talk about older cars. The steering wheels used to be connected to the actual front wheels. It was for lack of a better word, it was more mechanical, per se.
Right, okay, so it was, if I'm kind of getting this, the steering wheel is more so connected to an axle that the front wheels were also connected to, sort of deal. But now we're at a point where it's where maybe the control of the steering wheel is connected to some sort of wire system that
it's yeah.
I'm gonna need you to explain it, man.
It's more electronically controlled, so it's the steering wheel, the electrical signal from the steering wheel and then the circuit boards tell the steering wheel, oh, turn left, because that's what the driver is turning. If that makes more sense.
I kind of believe I get the concept, but it's one of those things I cannot explain personally.
Mm-hmm. I think for my car, I will definitely have it more electronically controlled. Of course, we want the car to last. We don't want too many things breaking.
But yeah, as you know, electronics and water just do not mix. So I mean, if anything, I'm just gonna have it be a little, hydrophobic sort of deal. Waterproof everything. So no issues are to happen. Hopefully, anyway.
Hopefully not. Maybe have a special coating on the car where it doesn't, electrocute.
Probably something like that.
As for, I do want a spoiler on the back.
Spoiler? Hang on, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, you're gonna see it in your imagination.
I need a spoiler. Because I kind of want to try to make it as lightweight as possible at the same time with being, sturdy enough to kind of be able to hold some stuff,
Yeah.
Because, engines are very, very heavy stuff. Probably would not be able to lift one on your own. I certainly wouldn't be able to, but I'm thinking a water-powered thing would just reduce the weight drastically.
Yeah. As for the emergency brakes, we are gonna have like a mechanical one, so it's not, you know, again, it's some things we need like electronic stuff, but some things like an electrical brake, you're gonna need that whether your car is on or not.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I mean, I know some cars, like, when they're broken, you can't really drive it into like a tow truck. You need to be able to push the car, like, and then turn off the emergency brakes.
Oh yeah, just imagining kind of breaking down like in the middle of a road. Not like one of those where it's like you have the ability to pull over. I mean, just out of nowhere in the middle of the road. That even worse, in the middle of an intersection. Jeez. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that sound. Well, I don't like that thought in my mind. Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, my question also will be is, would our imaginary cars be useful for, delivery services like, Uber Eats or DoorDash? Like, you think your car will be able to sustain, like, would it still run as good when it was brand new? Because the whole day you're driving.
You're saying it won't depreciate in value?
That's essentially what I'm trying to say.
I mean, everything is going to depreciate in value. I mean, when you think about it, the air conditioner that I'm looking at right now might not really be worth a while in 10, 20 years, But I mean, in terms of like delivering things, I wouldn't see why yours or mine won't be, qualified for that. It's just, it depends on, I guess, how well you handle the road, and I guess how much it can be held, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Going back into the interiors of the car, I will have, like in the center of like the back seats, there will be a little door that opens up, and then there's like cup holders that pop up from the bottom. And then there will also be a tray there, whether you want to put food there or big bags.
Yeah, cup holders are probably something that's going to exist. Oh, I mean, even though I don't see myself eating in a car, I know people do. I'm not judging people who don't, or I mean who do, but I personally don't see myself doing that, because it's just, a lot of things can go wrong when you're eating something. Crumbs can go in places where you just didn't expect it, and then you suddenly have, ants or whatever. Suffice it to say, it's just something where it's like, I feel like you should have a lot of cup holders, even if you're not opening things. You should have those drawers and storage areas. Like, why not? Right?
Yep. So yeah, I would definitely do something like that, where it's like a little door that's like opens up, and then comes like the cup holder and the tray. I mean, for those who are passengers in the back as well, is a thing.
Yeah, that's like a great idea, though, that not every car does, right? It's where it's like you could kind of multifunction, right? That's like a good term for it. It has more than one design for you to be able to kind of use it in different instances, right? Because at least the way that I'm imagining your system going is that cup holder can just be stowed away, and now that's like the backing for another seat in the back seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that more or less what you were saying?
Essentially, like, there's the one for the back seat, and then there will be one for the center console.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking like the one that is in the back seat. When it folds away, does it become another back seat?
It can be, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a
Yes.
great idea. It's kind of like a car version of the sleeper sofa, right? Where it's like there's a
Yep.
mattress right inside that sofa, so it's like you can sit on it or you could, sleep on it.
Well, I just think, I don't know, I think this whole center cup console system would be pretty cool.
I mean, it sounds cool. I mean, just the idea that it could stow away and come back out if you need. Are the front ones like that too? Would you be able to stow those ones away too?
Yep. That one, yep, you most certainly can.
Now, question about this. You think you'd be able to stow away the stereo so then you have more room in the front?
Nope, that is just gonna be the stereo.
That's constant. You're not able to push that down.
Nope, nope.
That would kind of be sick. I think that would be cool.
You can for your car.
You know what? If there's a way to do that, sure. You know what? Actually, there's the J model, and then there's the N model. One of them doesn't have that feature.
Sure. Or if I have a deluxe model, then sure, I could do that.
Oh, that does sound cool, though. I actually want the stereo to be like pushed down if you need it.
Yep.
Wow.
Only if you pay a premium, you'll get the push down stereo.
Oh god, what if it's subscription based and it's like once you pushed it down, then the subscription runs out. Oh, you have to pay to get the stereo back from your floor.
But with the regular model, you don't have to do any subscriptions.
Moral of the story, don't do subscriptions unless it's to this channel.
Yeah, definitely. God.
And using the car keyword at checkout.
Yeah. Also, I just thought of this.
Go ahead.
Do you think the people on the show Shark Tank would... Is that the show where, I guess, people bring out their ideas to people?
They have, 5, I guess, wealthy business owners investing in up-and-coming starters, and then, if they like it, they'll take them under their wing. If they don't like it, they'll be like, no, get out of here.
Do you think they would approve of our vehicles?
Mine, I don't think so. One, because of the factor of the paint idea is not, I wouldn't call it sustainable. There's probably a better term for it, but I'll just say sustainable. It's not something where it's like everybody knows where you could get it. I think it's still kind of being developed, right?
So it's like in its infancy stage.
Right? It was definitely in its like embryo phase 15 years ago. Because I remember a photography teacher that I had in high school was kind of talking about it, right? And so he basically said, yeah, it's a thing. I'm assuming it's still going to be a thing today, but probably more common than what it was. And then the second reason, thing that ties into something else that I said, water-powered engines were bought out by the big companies. So if I'm going to pitch this type of thing, they can't really do anything with that. Because the patent, it's already out there. It's just locked, pretty much. It's in a safe. It's almost never going to be used because big gas. Which is why I really don't like the gas idea. Because really, the only reason why the electric cars of today aren't able to go as far, at least according to you, I don't know the facts and figures about that, but the reason why they wouldn't be able to go is probably because the gas people butting into it. I assume there's some back alley stuff happening to the point where it's like, oh, I'm gonna make sure you can't go as far as if you had gas. Plus the gas prices, that's just something. How easy is it to just put a bucket outside and have it rain? There you go.
Well, even though you want the water-powered car, it's already been, I guess, like you said, copyrighted, patented, and it's like, well, those judges are going to be like, yeah, this isn't original.
I said nothing about the car, but it is like the engine, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's more so in a gray zone. But then, like I said, that paint idea where it's, programmable paint, pretty much, that's not reliable in terms of like a Shark Tank. However, with yours, I think you would have an easier time. Because yours just kind of sounds like something that already exists, more or less.
But yeah, it's like a newer car, but it's gonna, I guess, be more universal when it comes to, where you can take it to get done, or you can do it in your garage, like get repaired.
No, yeah. I mean, you can't really fault that, really.
Yeah. And not to mention the folding cup holders.
Right on.
Because I'm sure they'll probably, depending on their perspective, and depending on whether they eat in the car, whether they not, they'll probably approve of the fact that, hey, you know what? If I'm driving, I don't really want to get distracted, like, eating my cheeseburger. Or some people are like, oh, I do want my cheeseburger and I want to sip on my Coca-Cola while I'm driving to grandma's house.
If you're eating a burger and sipping on a Coca-Cola while driving, that's a disaster. Pull over.
But still there. The option is still there.
It shouldn't be there, because that's double fisting something. What are you going to do? You have one hand with your drink, one hand with your burger. Where do your hands go with the wheel? Do you have a foot wheel? Is that what you're telling me?
No, but
you have a hand and foot wheel.
Actually, here's a new pitch. In park mode, then the things will come out, the cup holder in your tray.
That's an idea. That's not bad.
But in drive mode, no, you can't eat your cheeseburger and drink your Coca-Cola. Unless you have a third hand coming out of your chest, you can't do that.
Because I know there are people out there. I've seen some. I've been in cars with some. Not lately, but have. Where people do double fist different snacks, or maybe they have like a phone in there, something different, right? Both of their hands are taken up. So what do? They put their knees up, and their knees are driving.
Mm-hmm. I've had that happen before.
Nothing makes me want to yank the freaking steering wheel more than that, man.
It's why I'm
like, use your hands. I will report you. I will make you retest.
That's why I look at it's like I'm the other pair of eyes. Well, this other pair of eyes is kind of looking at the road, but also not really paying attention.
Well, you gotta be the other pair of hands.
They're using their knees to steer the wheel.
All hands on 10 and 2. Well, guess what? Theirs are on page 10 of this book and page 2 of this one. But their knees are on 6 and 9.
Well, that's why I'm doing the safety feature in park mode. Then You can eat your dinner.
Great. I like that. I really like that.
We care about our drivers and we want them safe. Except
for you, Nancy. No.
That's right. Well, Nancy, you're done. But, yeah, I mean, I think if we were to sell this to customers, I mean, do you think, or let's start with you, if you pitched this, I guess, let's just say at a public vendor, do you think people would want to buy it?
If I had the permission, the rights to have it be water powered, absolutely, man. People like the idea of, oh, I get to have a different color shirt every single day. Of course they're gonna like the idea of, my car is the one that is literally camouflaged colored. Or it looks like Stars and Stripes. Looks like, I don't know, Lucky Charms. It looks like the Mystery Machine.
Yeah. Or what? Or Lightning McQueen, right?
Because, okay, thinking about this one, if I did have that paint on it where it just is pre-programmed, you get to select it, whatever, then theoretically, you could also pre-program a JPEG in there. So you don't have to get it wrapped with, I mean, I see it all the time, well, not in person, but online. I see, like, anime wraps, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Gear 4 Luffy in somebody's Fiat cover. I've seen that. But thinking about it, if you could put like that JPEG into the car, into the reprogrammed paint, whatever you want to call it, then theoretically you don't need to get that wrapped. It's not a bad system, and I mean, people like the idea of cutting down on gas, as it is. Except if you're, billions of dollars came from the gas industry. They don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But the general public, they want that shit. If I was able to use that power.
The only thing I would advise against is selling this car to criminals, because you know what? They could drive this car, and if they're getting chased by the cops and they're not being... Right now he's not being seen, he could just change his car to a different color. So he's like, oh, we don't see the person. I don't see that red car.
License plates are still a thing.
Yes, but then that's the only other problem, is that they could just look at the license plate combination and be like, oh, there's Timmy. He has a public record. But still, even though I got my idea, I might be able to buy it.
I think yours is definitely more realistic than mine is. I mean, yeah.
But, heck, I would also buy my own car, too.
I don't know about the red, but, I mean, it's just because that's a striking color. I would kind of want it a little bit more muted. I mean, maybe like a burgundy or something, like a darker red.
Yeah.
But, I mean, generally, I would probably get it too. Really. Yours is not bad. Do you foresee yourself getting mine if it was possible?
I probably would. It would save me money. I could just, get the same, I guess, those gas cans? I could just open up the top of that and if it's raining, I could just let it rain, or get the hose and just fill the gas can up and just put water in my car.
And guess what? You can also go to your neighbors and take their hose. You don't even need to pay for it.
There you go.
You can go to the public park. You could go to the beach and freaking take a bucket if you wanted to.
Okay, but is Is it fresh or salt water that this car runs on?
Water.
Just doesn't even matter if it's salt or fresh.
It would probably be better if it was, fresher. It would be better because it doesn't have a lot of the, I guess, residuals in it. It doesn't have the sand. It doesn't have, all of that. But it could work if you're in a pinch.
If I wanted
It's just,
to,
you'd have to clean out. You'd kind of have to clean out like the filters or something. But I don't see why not. Why can't it be seawater?
I mean, I don't know. So like it seems more like an impurity versus fresh water. But honestly, if I wanted to, then I could just put some cranberry juice in the car. But then that would cause problems.
It could, because it's probably not mostly water. But then again, is it just water because that's the easiest liquid to get your hands on? Or is it technically just water?
I mean, just water. It's mainly just water.
Well, we'll make it easier and say, we will not advise you to put other liquids in the tank. Try to use just water. That's going to be like the tagline or something. Like, try to use just water.
Yep, so as for me, I would buy my car just because of how simple it is. And also, every possible music format besides 8-track, you can listen to all music every decade possible. But just
so you're gonna put a church choir on every single roof, so then you could hear live music too.
If I get a holographic CD.
Well, that's a CD then. I'm talking about like
real choir.
You said every single type other than.
I mean, I could put like a projector on my car, project choir.
Actually, wait a minute. There's something. You can get like one of those movie screens, right? One of those like TV or whatever thing. And there's just like a live surface where it's like you put in, of course it has to be like a subscription based thing, or not subscription, but like, you have to pay every single time you use it sort of deal, because it takes talent for this type of thing to happen. But maybe you press the $5 button or something and it sends it off to the church choir, so it's a donation. No, a school choir, because they're more willing to do things like this. A donation to the school, and then you basically tell them what you want to hear. That's it. And then you'll hear it, if they're good enough.
Sure. But yeah, I do think, maybe I'll invest into that. But I do like the fact that, my car is also just really simple. You could probably teach somebody very easily how to drive this car.
I mean, that's kind of the pot not knowing what the kettle should be called, because you don't know how, man.
But this is in the universe that I can create a car.
Creating is different from driving it. It'd kind of suck if you go through all of this. Someone's like, I crafted your perfect vehicle. It's in the driveway. All you have to do is drive it to the DMV. You can't even do that part yet.
Well, we'll see about the whole car thing. Well, it would be cool to make these cars, like, translate into the real world.
I mean, even just putting, like, blueprints or something.
But, is there anything else you want to say before we park our cars?
Before we park our cars. I mean, how well do you think this would be on the highway?
It would be just fine, I guess. As long as you know the safety precautions, this will be highway friendly.
I think mine is okay on the highway too, but it's probably a little bit easier to I guess, run off road. Because
Hmm.
mine's whole goal is to be a little bit on the lighter side, while being sturdy enough to hold its own. So
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know about that, but you know what? If you're careful, if you're not gonna be a jerk on the road and speed through people's, passing or whatever.
Or how about make sure your car's not bouncing with the axle modifications.
Yeah,
Yeah, other than that, I would say, yeah, my car would be, I guess, highway appropriate.
I think mine would be highway appropriate. Just if anything, mine you'd have to be a little bit more careful with than with yours. But really, I don't think you have to be careful much. What do you think? If somebody was to make both of our cars in the next Cars movie, the next Pixar Cars 5 or whatever's next, who do you think will play our cars?
I would say either, I would say maybe Tom Cruise.
As yours or as mine?
Um, I don't know, like maybe as my car,
Yeah, I could
and
probably see that.
and then for your water powered car, hmm, okay, I could maybe. Let's see, who else was? Oh yeah, I could say, the movie Talladega Nights.
Okay.
I know one of the main characters' dad was like a racer in the movie. I could have the dad from Talladega Nights be the voice of your car.
I'll have to rewatch it. It's been a while. I vaguely kind of remembered what you're talking about,
Oh yeah, Ricky
but yeah,
Bobby's. I'm saying Ricky Bobby's father.
who I think that yours would kind of it is to kind of get an idea a little bit more from the side profile of your car. Is it more closer to a van? Is it more closer to a stereotypical car? Is it more closer to like a sort of truck look from the side? Or like what does yours look like more?
It's gonna look more like your typical like 4-door car, just like your stereotypical car.
4-door car, and it is red.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I'm trying to think of who's gonna play your car.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to swap your answers around while I think, I can do that.
Yep, Tom Cruise and Gary Cole.
Okay. Don't remember that name, but
He
probably remember that guy then. Yeah.
He played as Reese Bobby, which is Ricky Bobby's dad.
Those are great celebrities, though. I think those are kind of nice, but I'm kind of thinking of things on the opposite end, so to speak. I almost think that your car, with how it just seems overall, and I don't know if you know this person, because if anything, they're more in the anime world. I think Amanda Lee would do well with you. You have probably no clue who that is.
Amanda Lee.
Amanda Lee, yep. There are probably several Amanda Lees out there.
There's Amanda Lee, who's the American singer, voice actress, YouTuber.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I think she sounds like what I picture your car to be.
Maybe.
Meanwhile, I think, you know what? Sure, I'll stick in the same universe. Rico Fajardo, I think, should play mine. Or, wait a minute, no. Ian Sinclair should play mine. Yeah, he'll do great with the water-powered color changing. Wow.
You have quite a interesting car for like any voice actor.
You know what? Maybe since mine is a color changer, maybe the voice actor just changes every single time it looks different. There you go.
There you go.
That's
Perfect.
how we do it. So every single voice actor out there could play my vehicle.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, instead of having Owen Wilson play it, I'm definitely having Tom Cruise.
I mean, Owen Wilson he's lightning.
I know.
You're not lightning.
This isn't lightning. This is Tom Cruise we're talking about.
The Tom Cruise control, right?
Yep.
And then mine is, I don't know, Wally Water. Wally Water.
Woohoo! Does your car... actually, your car can't go on water. You can't drive on water.
Why can't it be amphibious?
It wasn't built like that.
Retroactively, I'm going back and I'm including that system in it somehow. It can go on the water.
Well, wait. We'll see how these go when we pitch them on Shark Tank. See you next week. No. Yeah, but no.
Is there anything else to bring up with this?
I don't know. I would say we'll definitely do like a World's Fair car show and like introduce these new cars. Not
Lovely.
something. Yeah, but I guess would you now say this is time to put the covers on the car?
I mean, I was able to speak.
This was a pretty fun episode. You know, we got to, I guess, grind our brain gears and, I guess, turn the gears and create our own car.
And create our car we did. I mean, definitely went better than I was expecting it. I don't know how you were expecting it, but I think it went well as well.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few, I guess, rusty moments when we were trying to think of ideas, but at the end of the day, we all got the certificate of coolest car of 2024.
Honestly, coolest car of ever. All of you other car companies out there are users.
You suck!
Please sponsor us, Toyota.
Let's go places together, shall we?
Das Auto.
But yeah, well, I mean, this was fun. Let's talk in the comments. What would your ideal car be? In fact, if you haven't seen a subscribe button, click right there. And instead of the notification bell, hit the notification horn. That way you do not miss a video. Oh, I just got one! No. But, alright, I guess it's time to take the car out of the keyhole. And... I don't know!